Reno Airshow. At the close of the National Championship Air Races in Reno, Nevada, on September 17, 2023, a somber quiet fell over the crowd. As the T6 Gold Race concluded, two of the top competitors, Nick Macy and Chris Rushing, tragically collided as they prepared to land. Both were skilled and seasoned pilots, with Macy piloting Six Cat and Rushing flying Baron's Revenge, vintage North American T6 aircraft. The sudden incident resulted in the death of both men, with no one on the ground being harmed. This was not the first time tragedy had marred the event, which has been a staple of northern Nevada for over 5 decades. A pilot had been killed in a race the year prior, and in a devastating 2011 crash, a plane slammed into spectators, claiming 11 lives and injuring more than 60 others. The National Transportation Safety Board is now investigating the recent collision, and a preliminary report from the NTSB suggests there was pilot confusion as the two planes maneuvered for landing. The accident brought an abrupt end to what was to be the final Reno air races at the Reno Stead Airport, a conclusion already planned due to rising insurance costs and encroaching urban development. The event, which prided itself on being a major economic engine for the region, generating hundreds of millions of dollars over the years, now finds its legacy forever intertwined with moments of both breathtaking speed and profound loss. The quiet cancellation of the remaining races and the somber tone of the organizers' statements underscored the deep respect and sorrow held for the fallen pilots, a testament to the risks inherent in a sport that pushes both man and machine to their absolute limits. Dallas Airshow. On November 12, 2022, a Wings Over Dallas Airshow, organized by the Commemorative Air Force to honor Veterans Day, turned to tragedy. Two historic World War II-era aircraft, a B-17 Flying Fortress known as Texas Raiders and a P-63 King Cobra, collided mid-air, a devastating event witnessed by more than 4,000 spectators. The B-17 carried a crew of 5, while the P-63 had a single pilot, and tragically, all 6 individuals perished in the collision. The impact was so violent that both planes broke apart and burst into flames, leaving a trail of wreckage spread over a large area. The final report from the National Transportation Safety Board paints a sobering picture of what went wrong. The investigation concluded that the primary cause was an inadequate pre-briefing by the air boss and event organizers. There was no plan in place to ensure the aircraft were kept at different altitudes, relying instead on the pilot's see and avoid strategy and real-time instructions from the ground. This flawed approach allowed for the catastrophic loss of separation between the two planes. A pilot on the ground speculated that the P-63 pilot might have misidentified the lead bomber and, in a sharp turn, obscured his view of the B-17, leading to the collision. The NTSB report further highlighted a broader systemic issue, citing a lack of proper FAA guidance and oversight for airshow air bosses. The tragedy was a stark reminder of the risks involved in these performances. In response to the accident, the Commemorative Air Force's event the following year was rebranded as an Aviation Discovery Fest and did not include an overhead air show. Lawsuits were also filed by the families of the deceased against the organizers, seeking to hold them accountable for the failure to ensure the safety of the pilots. The incident serves as a grim lesson in the critical importance of rigorous safety protocols, even for experienced professionals, when performing high-risk maneuvers. Great Pocono Raceway Airshow. On August 20, 2021, a somber quiet fell over the Wilkes-Barre International Airport in Pennsylvania as a routine practice flight for the Great Pocono Raceway Airshow ended in tragedy. Andy Travnicek, a 50-year-old Air Force veteran and a member of the renowned Geico Skytypers Airshow team, was killed when his vintage World War II-era plane, a North American SNJ-2, crashed shortly after takeoff. An Air Force Academy graduate with a distinguished career as both a military and commercial pilot, Travnicek was the sole person on board. According to airport authorities, the plane veered to the left for reasons unknown just moments after it left the ground, hitting the grass and erupting into flames. There were no injuries on the ground. A preliminary investigation was immediately launched by the National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration. Travnicek was a seasoned aviator who had served his country with distinction, flying a variety of military aircraft including the C-5 Galaxy cargo plane and the MC-12 Liberty I SR. He had a deep passion for flying historic warbirds, believing it was a way to honor the men and women of the U.S. military. The incident was especially poignant as it marked the second fatal crash for the Geico Skytypers since 2018. The team, known for their synchronized maneuvers and aerial smoke messages, chose to continue with the air show in Travnicek's honor. The tragedy underscored the inherent risks of flying vintage aircraft and the dedication of the pilots who take to the skies to preserve aviation history and entertain crowds. The loss of Travnicek was a profound one for the aviation community, a testament to a man who truly aspired to inspire the next generation of pilots. New York Airshow. The first ever New York Airshow at Stewart International Airport in New Windsor, New York, began with a somber tribute on August 29, 2015. The day prior, stunt pilot Andrew Wright was killed when his 1998 Giles G202 single-engine plane crashed during a practice flight. Witnesses, including photographers on the scene, captured shocking images of the moment the plane's tail section appeared to come apart midair, causing the aircraft to spiral uncontrollably into a marshy area near the airport. Wright, a seasoned pilot from Austin, Texas, with over 1,000 hours in his aircraft, was the sole occupant. Fellow pilots and airshow officials were heartbroken by the news. Mike Wiskus, a pilot set to perform at the show, described Wright as an expert and pro, a sentiment echoed by airshow narrator Larry Strain, who told the crowd that Wright loved the excitement, the thrill, and adrenaline of aerobatics. Wright was also a chief technology officer for a cybersecurity company, balancing a high-tech career with his passion for aviation. The National Transportation Safety Board and state police immediately began an investigation into the crash, with early reports suggesting a possible structural failure was the cause. Despite the tragedy, the show went on, with performers dedicating their efforts to Wright's memory. The incident served as a powerful reminder of the risks involved in aerobatic flying, a discipline that pushes both man and machine to their limits. While the NTSB's investigation would ultimately determine the exact cause, the visible failure of the aircraft's tail section was a chilling sight for those who witnessed it. The loss of Andrew Wright, a man who sought to inspire others through his love of flight, cast a shadow over an event that was meant to be a celebration of aviation. Oshkosh Airshow. On July 26, 2005, the skies over Oshkosh, Wisconsin, turned a shade darker. A North American F-51D Mustang, a legendary warbird, crashed while maneuvering near Malone, Wisconsin, killing its pilot, Richard James. The aircraft was part of a four-plane formation preparing to perform a missing man tribute at the EAA AirVenture Airshow. While holding in a V-shaped formation at 2,000 feet, the pilots were instructed to wait another 15 minutes before their performance. The flight leader then directed the planes to change to a trail formation and perform lazy eights, a ground reference maneuver. It was during this maneuver that something went terribly wrong. The number 4 plane, piloted by James, failed to complete the turn. According to witnesses on the ground, the P-51 appeared to stall or lose control at the very top of its maneuver. The aircraft then nosed down, still partially inverted, and plunged toward the ground. The crash site was a small, contained area in a farming community on the other side of Lake Winnebago. There was no indication from James that he was in any trouble before the sudden and catastrophic event. The loss of Richard James was a profound blow to the aviation community. According to a friend and fellow pilot, General Reg Urschler, James was a truly great man. In a moving tribute, several P-51s and other warbirds left the Oshkosh Airshow to attend his funeral, flying in formation over the service to honor his memory. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in flying these historic machines, and the dedication of the pilots who keep their legacy alive. Oklahoma Airshow. On a clear and sunny afternoon in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, a tragedy unfolded at the annual Biplane Exposition. On June 1, 1996, 2 historic biplanes, piloted by skilled enthusiasts, collided in midair as they were preparing to land. The incident took the lives of all 4 people on board, pilots William Watson and John Halterman, and passengers Rodney Bogan and Annette Delahaye. Witnesses on the ground described a slow-motion horror show. One of the planes, a 1928 KR-31 biplane, was in the process of banking to return to the airport when the second aircraft, a Waco biplane, approached from behind. The second plane, which witnesses said had been flying fast and performing up and down maneuvers, struck the lead plane's wing. The impact caused both aircraft to separate and spiral to the ground from an altitude of about 300 feet. One plane crashed into a creek bed and burst into flames, while the other nosedived into a field just yards from a house. The loss of life was especially poignant for the local community. Annette Delahaye, a popular news broadcaster for a local cable station, was on board as a passenger, a pilot herself, and described as an avid aviator with a real zest for life. Delahaye was not on duty and was simply enjoying her love of aviation. This detail added a layer of personal tragedy to an event that was meant to be a celebration of flight. Investigators from the Highway Patrol, the National Transportation Safety Board, and the Federal Aviation Administration immediately descended on the scene to piece together the sequence of events that led to the tragic collision. The incident stands as a stark and painful reminder that even under ideal conditions, the sky can be an unforgiving place. Western New York Airshow. On a fateful Sunday, July 13, 1985, a crowd gathered at the Niagara Falls Air Force Base to witness the Western New York Airshow 85. The spectacle, however, turned to tragedy when two jets from the Navy's elite Blue Angels precision flying team collided in midair. As the two A-4 jets were passing in front of a reviewing stand, a horrific crash occurred. One pilot, Lieutenant Commander Mike Gershin, a 31-year-old from Pensacola, Florida, was killed in the collision. Miraculously, the second pilot, Lieutenant Andy Caputi, 30, of Newport, Rhode Island, was able to parachute to safety with only minor injuries. The sudden and violent accident brought a halt to the performance, leaving spectators in a state of shock and disbelief. The Blue Angels are known for their meticulous precision and daring maneuvers, and a collision is an exceptionally rare and devastating occurrence. The team's performance is built on a foundation of trust and split-second timing, and for two jets to collide in such a manner during a public display was truly unthinkable. The loss of Lieutenant Commander Gershin was a profound one for the U.S. Navy and the entire aviation community. The incident served as a somber reminder of the inherent risks faced by military aviators, even in controlled airshow environments. While Lieutenant Caputi's survival provided a small measure of relief, the tragedy underscored the immense skill and courage required to perform such high-stakes aerobatics. The event cast a long shadow over the airshow, a moment of stark reality in a world of choreographed spectacle and precision. Old Rhinebeck Airshow. On a Saturday afternoon in October 2024 at the Old Rhinebeck Airport in Red Hook, New York, a mesmerizing airshow turned to tragedy. A replica of a vintage Fokker D-8, a single-seat aircraft from 1994, was performing a demonstration for spectators when something went horribly wrong, just 1 minute and 5 seconds into its routine. The air boss on the ground, a seasoned pilot with extensive experience flying the same type of engine, noticed a noticeable engine roughness. He immediately alerted the ground crew to be ready for a possible emergency landing. The pilot continued with the routine, but the engine's distress only grew worse. The air boss noted the engine was not firing on all cylinders, even though the pilot was applying full power. The plane continued its maneuvers, but at about 2 minutes and 16 seconds into the routine, the engine completely lost power and the aircraft began to descend. Videos recorded by witnesses captured a prominent fire erupting from the front of the plane, which rapidly intensified, consuming the fuselage as parts began to separate from the aircraft. The plane then pitched sharply downward and crashed into a wooded area. The pilot was tragically killed in the crash. Preliminary examinations of the Gnome 9N engine revealed that 2 of its cylinders had separated, and a wide crack was found in the engine crankcase. The wreckage was retained for further analysis to determine the precise cause of the engine's failure and the events that led to the crash. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in flying these historic replicas, and the dedicated air bosses who must make split-second decisions to ensure the safety of both pilots and spectators when the unexpected happens. Reno Air Races. In September 2022, tragedy struck the Reno Air Races during the Jet Gold Race when pilot Aaron Hogue, 61, was killed in a crash. Hogue, a well-known figure in the racing community and the 2021 Rookie of the Year, was piloting his L-29 Super Delphin jet, nicknamed Ballista, which held the race record for fastest lap speed at over 540 miles per hour. The accident happened on the third of 6 laps, as Hogue was neck and neck with another pilot. Video of the race shows the plane suddenly veer off course and begin to climb in an unusual manner before a shallow descent into the ground, where it bursted into flames. The incident was especially heartbreaking as Hogue's family was at the event and witnessed the tragedy firsthand. In the wake of the crash, all remaining races and events were immediately canceled. The Reno Air Racing Association's CEO, Fred Telling, fought back tears during a news conference as he spoke of Hogue's passion for life and air racing. A manufacturing company owner who had been flying since he was 16, Hogue was part of a family team that used their aircraft for advertising and travel. The National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration immediately launched an investigation to determine the cause of the crash. Some analysis has suggested the pilot may have experienced G-induced loss of consciousness, but the official cause is still under investigation. The Reno Air Races, which had already faced challenges from wildfire smoke and low spectator turnout that year, ended on a somber note. In place of the usual award ceremony, racers, teams, and supporters gathered for a dinner to mourn Hogue's passing and support one another, a testament to the tight-knit September family of the racing community.